passion, tires screaming that southern heat. 200 strong on the NASCAR beat. Lap 5 wreck on turn 4. Smoke so thick can't see the door, but somehow I slip right through like a ghost in red, white, and blue. 'Cause I thread the needle, dodge the flame. Every pile up calling my name. Wrecks behind me, wrecks ahead, but I ain't wrecked, I ain't dead. Sliding sideways, holding tight, praying hard through every fight. Got no wins, but I got pride. Made it through the other side. Yellow flags like warning signs, but I ain't falling for their lines. Got nerves of steel, a shaky hand. This ain't a game, it's fight or land. Saw that 18 catch the wall. 21 spun, took out them all. But somehow I found the lane, like Moses through that fire and rain. Yeah, I thread the needle, dodge the flame. Every pile up calling my name. Wrecks behind me, wrecks ahead, but I ain't wrecked, I ain't dead. Sliding sideways, holding tight, praying hard through every fight. Got no wins, but I got pride. Made it through the other side. No checkered flag, no champagne rain, but I kept it clean through the carnage and pain. One more lap, one more breath, a dance with danger, a race with death. Still I thread the needle, feel the flame. Every turn's a twist of fate's game. Wrecks behind me, wrecks ahead, but I ain't wrecked, I ain't dead. Sliding sideways, holding tight, out of chaos into light. No first place, but man, I ride with fire still burning inside. Yeah, I thread the needle in this wild racing ride.
Hello, everybody, and welcome here for week 6 of the FTR Complete Graphics Truck Series here at Darlington Raceway. Hello, my name is Christian Delgado, your lead producer and commentator for tonight's race here for the the American Speed Network. My first call here for the American Speed Network. So once again, I very much appreciate the opportunities from everybody over there to have me down here in the booth to call this week 6 race here at Darlington Raceway here for the Truck Series. So just like that, we have qualifying underway here. So let's see if we can get some drivers that are on track here, as we have a couple of drivers that have decided to come out here and start their laps. We have right here the 81 of Jeff Orderman. The driver out of Waterloo, Iowa. You're going to start his lap. Darlington, one of these unique tracks that it's going to be a driver's track here, especially with the way these trucks are going to drive. You know, with the new iRacing handling model and stuff, they've definitely changed the way that these trucks have driven over the last year or two. And you're going to see these trucks start to get looser and looser throughout the run here. But you see Jeff right here, I believe, on his first lap here. Right now you see the 90 of Josh Lambert right now with the pole with the 28.95. Well, we'll see what this number 81 can do here, coming into the line to complete his first lap. Let's give this 81 up to P6, 29.2. Good lap for that 81, for that number 81. We'll see him try to improve on this lap here on this lap 2. And now Jeff falling down to the P8 position with that 29.2, but coming out of 3 and 4 for his second lap here. See if he can improve on this time at all. 29.82. Just a little bit slower for that lap. So he's going to sit there back there in that P6 position. Let's see if we can find some other drivers who have not completed their first laps here. Looks like Charlie Stoltzman in this 180 out on track to start his first lap here for the FTR Truck Series. This yellow and black machine starting his first lap. See, looks like Scott Leonard up there takes the pole away from Josh Lambert in that 630 machine with a 28.7. Well, let's see what Charlie can do here, coming out of 4 to complete his first lap. Put him up to P18 with the 29.71. Pretty decent lap for that driver. You'll see him park that truck right there, waiting on some drivers to complete some laps here to get out on track. Looks like Barry Acker. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that name right. From Daytona Beach. Right now sitting P13. You can see him get a little bit sideways out of turn 2. Try to catch it. We're going to hit that outside wall here on the backstretch. Something really easy to do here at Darlington. You'll see that probably a little bit here throughout the race here. Looks like 24 drivers have completed a lap time here in qualifying. These drivers have about a little over a minute to come out here and set a lap time. So they have at least enough time to come out here and at least set one more lap if they want to. Right now, it looks like 24 drivers content with where they're running. Right now, currently your pole sitter, we talked about it earlier, Scott Leonard sitting in the pool with that 630 machine with that 28.7, my apologies. Scott Lambert close behind with it 28.73, and Matt Morrison back there with a 28.7. Looks like everybody else content as we start to count down. Just 30 seconds left in qualifying, so looks like there's gonna be about 6 or 7 cars who decide to not set a lap, including Jacob Nagiel, Bryant Nagiel, probably I'm gonna assume some relation there, Michael Ziegler, Dylan Ostrander, Ryan Walker, and Kane Logson. Hopefully I'm pronouncing those names right. We'll decide not to set a lap here for qualifying. And just like that, we'll get ready to wrap up everything. Scott Leonard going to be your pole sitter here at Darlington. You'll see the checkered flag waving here from Darlington for qualifying, as we'll get ready to get your starting lineup here from Darlington. This will give some of these drivers a little bit of time to get their trucks underway and get ready to go. Obviously, these drivers can set up the trucks a little bit differently from qualifying trim to race trim to set up a good way to set a good quali lap. And obviously, you're going to set up the car a little bit different to run, you know, more than 2 laps, obviously. So we'll let some of these drivers sit down there and get some adjustments underway. But we do see most of the trucks sitting on the grid here, so we'll get ready and get your starting lineup here for week 6 here at Darlington. You see Scott Leonard there in that 630 machine. Josh Lambert in the 90, going to start on his outside. Matt Morrison back there in P3. Joseph Phelps back there in P4 in that 57 machine. And your top 5 are going to be Zach Tucker in that 1 machine. Dylan Bird in that 638. Going to round out that row 3. Jeff Waterman, P7 in that 81 machine, with Leroy Koblenz in the 161. Good qualifying lap for Leroy. Brandon Cowell in the 85, going to be that P9 position. And rounding out your top 10, going to be Robert Chappell in that 87 machine. P11 is going to be Rich Rodrich in that 71 machine, with Juan Vilez in P12. We'll go through the rest of your starting grid here. P13 is going to be Barry Acker in that 83 machine. Landon Huff in the 320, going to be P14. P15, Clyde Kuffner with Dave Peterson rounding out that row 8. P17 is going to be Casey Kottner in that 82 machine. Chris Randall in P18. Charlie Stoltzman, P19, with John Walker, P20. Randy Coyer, Rudy Hogg, Tim Johns, Andrew Pollitt, Jacob Nagel, Kane Logson, Owen Newman, Michael Ziegler, Bryant Nagel, and Brian Walker being back there in the P30 position. Looking at your race info for tonight's race, you see Darlington here, partly cloudy, 68 degrees Fahrenheit with 80% humidity, with a little to no wind here. But obviously Darlington, you know, the very difficult track here. You see this kind of egg-shaped oval here, 1.5 mile track, where the corners are very different, right? You're going to see up in 1 and 2, you're going to see them kind of try to rip the wall and try to get that truck down here on exit, versus in 3 and 4, you can kind of put that truck wherever you want. You can go down there and paint that that dotted line down there, or you can go up there and rip the wall here. But you see the lights on the pace car are off, and we'll get ready to go green here at Darlington. You see that pace car take a hard left turn as we'll get ready to go. Is that number 8 and that number 320 machine and that number 90 machine will lead us to green here at Darlington. We see a spinner in the back. I don't know if that's going to be a caution or not, but you see Scott Leonard take the lead going into turn 1 as Lambert will fall behind back there in P2. Back there, P3 in the P4 position. We'll see his car go around there, and caution will be out. I think that was John Walker back there who spun it out. As we'll take a look here at your race replay. I think the caution's back here between some drivers. I think we had a couple. There's the 71 machine right there. So we'll try to maybe back it up here. We can find the 71 or Rich. We saw a couple trucks right there get loose out of 2, and that's something that you're going to see a lot. So you saw a lot of stack ups here. You see the 71 get caught up, getting the back of the 87, and the 71 will spin it out there as well. So just a couple of self spins and some contact throughout this first couple laps here. But that will be your first caution here at Darlington. So Scott Leonard will continue to lead here as we'll see some trucks probably come down pit road, probably try to take some damage, I presume. See Robert Chappell down pit road in that 87 machine. Not the start of the race that he probably wanted for tonight. Scott Leonard, I mean, he came up here, ran pretty quick here in practice, was obviously really quick here in qualifying, and sitting up here still in the pole. Scott Lambert, obviously some of these guys up in front just kind of keeping the track position just because they didn't really wreck up here. So you see Josh Lambert up here in this number 90 machine. Matt Morrison back here from Redding, California, in that number 6 Hunt Brothers Realtree machine. Really nice looking truck for that 6 machine. And Zach Tucker up one spot, gonna be in your Fast 4. But we'll wait on some of these trucks to take some service down on pit road. It looks like we still have some drivers down pit side. Joseph Phelps in his 57 machine trying to get some service to this truck done. See the 57 coming out of pit road here. Trying not to go more than a lap down, I would presume. You'll see him come back out. We'll come back up to your race leader. So you see the lights are off on the pace car, which means we'll be going back green this time by. And you'll see, you know, Leonard and Lambert once again take you back to green. You see that 57 trying to, he's going to have to hurry up to get back around the track here to catch the end of the longest line here, as you saw him try to get some damage fixed. So we still have, I believe, around 29 to 30 trucks on track here still on lap 4. But looking at some of your biggest moves, we have Bryant Nagel up 13 spots up in the 16th position, so look for him to be aggressive here. But you're going to see the pace car once again take a hard left turn on the pit road, and that 8 machine and that 90 machine is going to get you back here as we have a car stopped here out of turn 4. I'm not sure what that was about, but we're still going to go green here as Leonard is going to lead you back to green, and you're going to see everybody kind of get single file out here for the top 5. Really all throughout the field here you see green, just single file racing. You see Lambert all over the back end of this number 8 machine. Leonard just trying to do the best he can to run a consistent line. And this is the best thing I think these drivers can do right now. Get single file, figure out what their pace needs to be, and then you can maybe start to get a little bit racy. Maybe be aggressive at the start to maybe make up a spot or two. But with how poorly these trucks are handling on the starts with these cold tires, we already saw a couple drivers have some issues on the cold tires. Maybe just sit back real quick, get the tires, get some heat in the tires, and then maybe you can start the fight and try to put some pressure on some guys in front of you. But right now, I think right now, sitting single file like they are right now is probably the best thing that they can do. So you see a battle back here for the P14 position. You see the 52 trying to be cordial with this 45, who's looks like he's blinking a little bit. And especially here for a track like Darlington, and having someone who has a poor connection can be really hard when you're trying to race someone side by side. There's not really a lot of side by side you can go through here. Maybe in 3 and 4 if someone can rip the top and someone can kind of run that bottom line. But going into 1 and 2, you kind of have to be kind of orderly and kind of set up someone, as you might see this Good Wrench truck do right here. Try to run the top here, get a good exit, get a good launch out, and then try to get side by side with that truck in front of you. I think that's exactly what this 458 machine's trying to do here. But you still see, once again, some connection issues. So we'll go ahead and look at this 180. Charlie Stoltzman, who's trying to hold off this 458. Now that battle's starting to cool off, we'll try to take a look at some other battles throughout the track here. And now it looks like we do have a potential battle up here for The 81 trying to hold on here as the Leroy Koblenz in that 161 machine trying to run down that P6 driver. Leroy up one spot from where he started. See Leroy for Dover, Delaware. Doing a good job right now, keeping the truck clean, trying to do what he can to make up spots here. See some slow trucks right there. Already see some mayhem from these trucks. You see that brown truck right there. He's trying to limp it around, trying to get as much laps complete as he can. But Scott Leonard has his hands full here as Josh Lambert has ran him back down. Now it's up to this 8 machine to try to keep this Josh Lambert machine, this 90 Toyota, behind him. But Josh has done a good job trying to reel him back in. And you see both these cars, and this is what I was talking about earlier. 1 and 2, you can't really make a move here. You're going to have to set it up for the exit and hope that that guy in front of you, like Scott Leonard, kind of makes a mistake, tries to drive it in too deep, maybe has to get out of it. But you see right here, Josh really driving it into the corner a lot deeper, and use that top lane to maybe get a good run off the corner here. But Scott kind of arcs that corner, tries to get down early. So lap 13 of 90, and I feel like the tire wear is going to start to come into play in about, I would say, 5 to 10 more laps here. You know, and the tire wear is really going to show who saved their tires, because these trucks do not handle the best if we do get to that stage where tires are going to matter. You're going to see some people who use their stuff up and it's going to start to fall through the field, and you're going to see some other guys who saved their tires, who tried to, I would say, baby it around a little bit to try to save some tire, that are going to start to drive a little bit better. As you see, you see a little bit the Scott Lambert get the wall there, going in the 1, trying to get everything out of this truck as he can. I think Lambert thinks that he's got a little bit of a better truck than Scott Leonard in front of him, is trying to just get to the back end of there. But you see right there in the forward shot, these leaders are starting to catch some lap traffic already. You see 2 lap cars right there that are going to be side by side. I think that's the 53 machine trying to stay on the lead lap. As you see them get around the lap car, that's the 32 machine of Tim Johns. Tim not having the start of the race that he wanted, got caught up in, it looks like he's got some damage to that machine, maybe got caught up in a wreck or so. Maybe got caught up in that lap 2 wreck. So you're going to see that 32 go a lap down. And we'll continue to look at this battle for the lead. Is Scott got away a little bit, after negotiating through some of this lap traffic. It's allowed him to get out to a little bit of a gap here. So you have Scott back here in the lead, Josh Lambert back here in P2, and Matt Morrison is about a second and a half or so behind these front 2. You see that lap car in between the buffer P2 and P3, and then back here you have a big gaggle of cars. Looks like a 5-car battle back here from, looks like 4th to 9th, or 4th to 8th, my apologies. As these guys are just trying to run around right now. You see Zach Tucker back here in this 1 machine, Dylan Bird in that 50 machine, Jeff Warderman in the 81. I talked about him, we rode on board with him in qualifying. And Leroy, we already talked about him a little bit, up 1 spot there in P7. And Brandon Cowell right behind them in P8 and in P9. Back here is the 72 of Clyde Kuffner right now. A good 5 or so seconds off from that front battle. But right now, Brandon Cowell right here, seeing a big gaggle of trucks right in front of him. Gonna try to take advantage if he can. Everybody just trying to run in line right there. Looks like a little bit of a mistake out of the 50 machine up there. And you're seeing a lot of patience out of these drivers here. What is it, 4th through 8th? You don't really see them trying to go side by side. They're content kind of running where they are. You might see the 50 car get something done on him here. It looks like The 81 might have a little bit of a better truck than Dylan right now. Dylan looks a little sideways out of the corners, especially out of 2 there, and it's allowing, here comes Jeff, to try to make it side by side going here in the 1 and 2. Will they try to race? No, the 50 will let him go. Really smart move out of Dylan. We said it once, you know, you can't really go side by side in the 1 and 2 and come out cleanly. Oh, you see, I think that's the 16 truck. Pancake the wall there, Andrew Pilot. As we have a caution out. Oh, is the 16's gonna get up there in front of Leroy? Looks like maybe we might have had an issue with Landon Huff, as we'll try to see and take a look at what happened here. Ooh, side by side, and yeah, there goes the 320. Almost gets a little bit of air. That Kentucky truck, that Kentucky Wildcats machine. Maybe it looks like just got side by side with that truck on the outside, and you know, kept pushing, and finally there just wasn't anywhere that truck on the outside could go, and the 320 will go around there. So caution will wait for the second time at Darlington, and we'll get ready to re-rack them once again. See trucks down pit lane here. So you'll see Scott, Josh, Matt, Zach, everybody down here coming down pit side. And we ran 21 laps. I'm not sure how many tires we have. Obviously, I'm a fill-in here for the complete graphics truck series, so I'm not very aware of how many tire sets that these truck series drivers get. But obviously, we ran 21 laps, which is a pretty decent amount here at Darlington, especially in these trucks. Have the race sponsor in chat. Upset he couldn't make the race. Just got off work and just couldn't make it. Unfortunate for you guys there. But you'll see Zach Tucker will win the race off pit road. Looks like maybe he did a little bit of a different strategy, maybe taking 2. But Zach Tucker will lead us to green here in that 1 machine. Scott Leonard will fall back to P2, and Josh Lambert P3. Matt Morrison in that 6 machine will fall back to P4. So your top 3 is the only people that go down 1 spot respectfully, compared to Zach, who took a different strategy there. But Dylan Bird actually gained some spots here in that 50 machine. Gonna go up to P5. Jeff Orderman P6. Brendan Cowell P7, and Leroy will go back to P8 after having to slow up for that 16, who had some damage, was trying to limp it around there. See Jacob Nagel. I'm gonna butcher that name every time, Jacob, so my apologies already. And Clyde Kuffner back there in the 72 machine, gonna be your top 10. But once again, lights are already off on the pace car, and we'll get ready to go green here. But we do have a new front leader here, and that Zach Tucker machine. You see that red, white, and blue Chevy Silverado. That 1 machine will lead us back to green here at Darlington. Once again, you'll see this pace car get ready to hook a hard left turn on the pit road, and we'll get ready to go green here to start lap 24 of 90. So once again, that pace car will take another hard left turn, and we'll get ready to go green. And you'll see the 1 and the 80 and that 8 machine Chevy front row. As you see Barney with the flag in hand, as we'll get ready to go green. Pretty good jump for the 1 machine, as you're going to see Scott Leonard kind of use that top lane to get right to the rear tailgate of that 1 truck. Already going to try to take advantage here to try to force that 1 machine and do a mistake. See the 1 going to choose to run the top, as the 8's going to run the bottom. Going to do a little bit of a slide job, going to get up and clear the 1, as Scott Leonard will retake your lead here to start lap 26, side by side for P2, as here comes Josh Lambert to get around the 1 machines. Side by side for P4 and the 6 machine. That's Matt Morrison. Kind of got used up there. Going in 1 and 2, he's going to lose a couple spots here all the way back to P8s. He's going to get passed by Jacob Nagel in that number 48 machine. You hate to see that from Matt. Just once again, we talked about you cannot really go side by side 1 and 2 without, you know, getting kind of used up if you're on the top. And that's exactly what happened to that 6 machine. Looks like the 6 still trying to get under wraps here. It looks like he's going to let Leroy by, trying to get back into a rhythm here and try to maybe get some of those spots back. But once again, now side by side with the 72, and he's going to get put in the wall once again. And man, you gotta feel bad for this 6 machine. He's probably punching his wheel right now. I mean, was sitting up there solidly in the top 4. It seemed like he had a pretty decently competitive truck, and now the 6 is gonna get loose. Gonna have to use that car on the inside as kind of a savior. And man, just the 6 car going from bad to worse here as he's all the way back to P15 after starting inside the top 5 on that restart. But once again, the 6 car, he's got to put his head down, just get back to work. Obviously, the truck looks like it's not driving the best. Just got to keep your head down and just try to keep this truck on the track. Try to maintain, try to, you know, keep the race alive here. Don't try to overdrive the truck, trying to be a hero to try to get those spots back up east. Now you see, you know, Brian Nagel back here trying to make a move here in this 458 truck. Right now, if I'm the 6 machine, you just kind of, even if you need to let guys go, you kind of have to stop the bleeding. You cannot try to push the truck harder than it needs to go right now, because you can just tell that ever since he got that contact, this truck is not driving right. Probably has a little bit of steering damage or something. But you just have to stop the bleeding here. Keep the truck going, even if you're going to continue to hemorrhage spots away. You got to keep going. You can, and once again gets put in the wall. Man, I don't know what to say. I'm just gonna not look at this truck anymore. Maybe it's a commentator's curse. As we'll go back and look at this battle for the lead once again. Scott Leonard and Josh Lambert, right over each other again. Lambert within, you know, 3.2 tenths once again of this number 8 machine. Everybody once again getting single filed out. Looks like right now 23 trucks on the track right now. Everybody else, so 24th on back, has decided to call it a night, it looks like, early. Maybe. Unfortunate for some of these drivers, but yeah, it looks like 23rd is, oh, we have a little bit of a battle here as they're trying to negotiate the lap truck. That's the 88 that they just got around. The 88 of Juan Velez. Juan going a lap down right there. And with just like that, remember we talked about Scott Leonard negotiating the lap traffic a little bit better for that first little stint. Josh did a really good job capitalizing on the 88 and really closed in some time here to the race leader. They had a little bit of a mistake at it too. It's going to allow the 20, it's going to allow the 8 machine to pull a little bit of a gap here. But still that 90 all over the back tailgate of this 8 machine. 6:30 on timing is scoring, but 8 on the truck, so we're just going to call it the 8 machine. It's going to looks like we have some more battling right outside here. Once again, we have a little bit of a 3-car tandem here. We have the 81 of Jeff Werderman, Jacob Nagel, and Brandon Cowell right here. This little 3-car pack. They're trying to race down that 50 machine, where right now looks like the 48 is going to try to make a move here in the 3 and 4. As the 81's going to really drive it into the corner here to keep this 48 machine behind them. And give that spot to the 81 once again here to start lap 35. Lap 34, my apologies. See the 50 in front. Dylan Bird getting the wall a little bit. Is once again, I feel like Brandon really wants to get around this 81 machine. Or Jacob wants to get around this 81 machine, but 81 doing really good defense. They try to keep these guys behind. And this is what you have to do here. You know, it's really hard to pass here at Darlington. And guys, and these experienced drivers who have, you know, driven on the sim for a while or just really driven the truck for a while knows if they can put their truck in a good spot, it's going to be really hard to pass. But you see the 48 get a little bit of a better corner. And you're going to see the 48 try to slide up in front of 81. To see Will is now to 85. He's going to go side by side with 81. '85 cannot make that pass work, because once again the 81 doing really good defensive skills. Dylan Bird actually gets past from Jacob Nagel here. The 48 starting to put some good lap times down as he's moved his way up into the top 3. But he's got a little bit of work to go as he's almost 4 seconds behind P2 here of Josh Lambert. Josh has actually started to give just a little bit of time up to your race leader, Scott Leonard. Scott has stretched this lead out to just a little under half a second here. You see about, yeah, you see right there on the timing scoring on your ticker to the left, just give or take a little over or a little bit under half a second there. And Scott right now just running consistent laps right now, just trying to, I don't know, maybe he's just trying to maintain a gap, because you saw him pull away there, get up to about 7/8 tenths, and then kind of fall back here. I don't know, maybe Scott maybe used the stuff up a little bit and he's slowly getting reeled back in by this 90 machine, or if Scott's just maybe just trying to maintain a gap here, try to keep it around a half a second to maybe save a little bit of tires and to conserve his equipment a little bit. If that's what he's doing, it's a smart decision, right? If you know you can go faster, then obviously you can, but it's also kind of smart to just kind of run the same lap times as the guy behind you. Because if you don't have to push as hard and you can match this lap time, right, you're just going to save tires a little bit better. And if we get a long run here at Darlington, that's really going to pay off. I mean, Darlington is one of these tracks that you are going to have tire wear, and you're going to see guys who can manage the car the best are going to prevail, right? You're not going to see a lot of hot lappers prevail here when you get to a long run, because the tire wear will show. Right now, Scott just consistently keeping this about half a second back. We do have another battle for, looks like out here for the P5 position. Dylan Bird under immense pressure from this number 85 machine. Brandon Cowell, the Canadian, trying to take this position away from the 50 machine. '85 just cannot find a way around this 50 machine right now. Once again, and like I said, you start to see who's had time as we have a caution out once again. Looks like there's a car stopped up there on the top. So we'll take a look at this. Is Joseph Phelps. We saw him stopped up there on the track. Looks like he's already got a left front really tore up here, and he's just gonna lose it up here in the 3 and 4. Oh man, and that's the 90 machine of Josh Lambert who makes contact with him. What a tough break for Josh. And you see the 57 right there is stopped up there, finally decides to park that truck there. And Josh Lambert back here doesn't look like he's got too much damage on that truck, but heartbreak if it does affect anything on that truck. It's looking really promising. You see a little bit of quite a bit of front end damage there, but tough luck for this 90 machine of Josh Lambert. It's wrong place, wrong time. But you'll see once again your race leaders down pit road, and we'll probably see an extensive stop for this number 90 machine of Lambert. Obviously you saw the damage to the front end here. We'll see if he decides to take some of it, or if he's just going to try to limp it out here. Hopefully, it looks like you might have a little bit of wheel damage on that left front, on that right front. My apologies. But man, just wrong place, wrong time for this 90 machine. You got to feel for it. He had a really fast race truck tonight. Hopefully, he can pull out a decent finish here. Right now, it looks like the only guy who can really compete with that 8 machine. But we'll see if what this 90 machine decides to do here. If he's gonna sit in the pits and take the damage, or if he's just gonna try to see what he can do here. You see once again some pit strategies. I believe that's the 48 of Jacob Nagel gonna win the race off pit road, and the 90 not gonna take the damage. He's gonna try to stick it out here, but Jacob Nagel gonna win the race off pit road. Looks like another pit strategy here. 7.2 second stop. So maybe fuel only for that 48. I'm not sure. And you see back here, once again, Scott Leonard gonna be second in pit road, 14.8 second stop, pretty typical time. And Leroy Koblenz gonna put himself up here in the podium position, also with some strategy, 6.98 second stop, total of 47 seconds from pit entry to pit exit. So some different strategy here from some of these drivers here. Deciding to, you know, take a gamble here, not take tires, maybe take some left sides only. You see Josh Lambert back there, despite the damage, going to start here P4. 17 second stop, so just about 3 seconds longer than everybody else's typical stop here. But you'll still see that 90 back there in P4, but we'll once again see a new leader here at Darlington. Once again, we'll have a Chevy front row lockout with that 8 machine and that 48. And then you'll have a Ford Toyota second row as the 61 of Koblenz and the 90 of Lambert and that Toyota are going to be your fast four. But once again, you'll see the space car hook a hard left turn back on the pit road, and we'll be going back to green here to start lap 45 of 90. Well, as Willie will crescendo to the halfway point in this race. As once again, we'll see a Chevy front row as that 48 will lead us back to green for the first time. Getting ready to go into the restart zone here, and we'll be back green here from Darlington. .48 with a decent jump, but Scott Leonard's gonna get him on the outside on the restart, and here comes Lambert gonna make a move here on the outside, and those two have already taken the top two. Now Leroy Koblenz gonna get some pressure from the 50 machine. Remember, Leroy did a little bit of a gamble to get the track position here, and I think Leroy knows that he's gonna have a little bit of a slower truck, gonna try to stay out of the way to keep this truck clean. And you see everybody trying to get around him on the bottom. So Leroy's going to try to give as much room as he can without hurting his truck. We already see the gamble starting to not really work here. I can see the gamble working maybe later in the race. If Leroy saves a set here without going a lap down in that adrenaline racing machine, he might have something here at the end if we get a caution late where he has that extra set. But Leroy already dropping back to 10th. Now he's going to get past and go outside the top 10 back to 11th, 12th. Looks like he might go all the way back to 13th and kind of sit back there. We have a battle for this P3 position as the 50 is getting ran down by the 48. Jacob Nagel. Remember, he also had this strategy to get some track position here. Actually restarted first here on this restart, but he's already starting to get swarmed by some of these fresher tires. See the 48 gonna try to have to hold it on this outside here without getting into the wall and keeping it cordial here with all these other trucks who have the fresher tires that are gonna be a little bit quicker. And a battle up here ensuing is the 50 machine. Dylan Bird gonna try to get around Lambert with that. Remember, Lambert has that damaged truck. You're already starting to see damage really affects the way this car drives. As Kane Logson, where did he come from? Back up here in the P3 position, up 22 spots in that number 19 machine. That premier setup shop truck. Out of nowhere, up here in the top 3. Really good run for this 19 of Kane. And look at that, he's already putting some pressure on this 50 machine. Last lap for Kane was a 29.12. Scott Leonard 29.4. So this 19 machine is flying right now. One of the fastest trucks on track. I think he is actually your fastest truck on the track right now. Last lap was a 29.09. It's actually pushed Dylan to push his truck a little bit, where he ran a 29.10. Remember, Scott Leonard once again 29.4 that last lap. Coming to the line, we'll see what everybody runs. 29.2, 29.3, 29.5 for the top 3. So Leonard, the fastest out of your top 3 right there. That last lap was, oh, you see the 19, a little bit of a wiggle. out of turn 2. He's going to give up some time to that 50 machine. As we see this battle start to cool off, we'll go through the field and look at some of your other battles right now. P9 under attack. Casey Cotterman under attack from Zach Tucker. See Casey in that 82 machine is going to get some contact, and he's going to go round up and over. Barreling side over side down here in the turn 1 and 2, and that will be a caution. Wow, we caught that live here on the American Speed Network cameras here, and dang, what a vicious wreck for this 82 of Casey Cotterman. Probably that's going to be a race ender for him, and we'll go ahead and take a look at that. Man, what a crash for Casey there. I saw it live here. We'll go back here a couple frames, and we'll take a look and see what happened here. We'll maybe try to look at your chopper cam here, if we can find it. And man, we'll do a little bit of a replay here once again on your ASN replay. And man, just side over side, gets a little bit of help from the 72, and horrible wreck for this 82 machine. And once again, I mean, that's just side by side racing going 1 and 2. You saw him get a little bit of help from that car behind, and he just kind of tried to save it, overcorrected it into the outside wall, and just a vicious crash for this 82 machine. You got to feel for that. I mean, that's the spot you kind of put yourself when you try to run the top here, try to go side by side, and you are that top car going into 1 and 2. That guy behind you, you really are at the mercy of the guy behind you when it comes to those situations. You really have to hope that that guy behind you will give you the break, give you the benefit of the doubt if you mess it up or you overdrive and you have to get on it. But unfortunately right there, the 82 kind of got tagged from the guy behind, and away he goes. And that is probably a race ending for that 82 machine. You got to feel for it, right? Casey, it looks like, yeah, has already gotten out of that truck for the night. Sitting right now currently P21. But you got to feel for him, right? Kind of run the race there. Was getting caught by a little bit, it looks like a truck that was a little bit quicker, and was just trying to kind of be a little bit defensive, and just got a little bit of contact that got his truck a little bit upset. And it's super easy when you get that car yacht out enough. It's spinning to the left, and you're yanking the wheel to the right to try to correct it, and sometimes the truck will just snap on a dime and will just yank it. The truck will just yank to the right, and you're just along for the ride. And unfortunately, that's what happened to that 82 machine. And obviously, you saw that vicious crash of that 82 going end over end down here in the 1 and 2, down the banking, and then finally resting out of turn 2 there. But unfortunate. That'll be for us to have our third caution here. But luckily, Darlington's a kind of hard track here, so I'm happy to see we've had a good some good long runs here, I would say. Comparatively, I mean, these trucks are not easy to drive here at Darlington, and it really shows how talented some of these drivers here in this complete graphics truck series are to keep these trucks underneath them, and they race competitively. But now you have the 8 of Scott Leonard and a newcomer up here into the top 2, Kane Lodson, and that 19 Chevy Silverado. Once again, going to be a Chevy front row, Chevy front 4, Chevy top 6, Chevy top 8. So Chevy dominance here from to start your lap 56 here. We'll see if some of those Fords and Toyotas can maybe make their way up to the front here. But once again, Scott Leonard, Kane Logson will take you back to green here. Looks like Kane maybe spun the tires a little bit. Scott with a really good advantage here is Brandon Cowell, and that number 85 machine is going to go side by side with the 19 to try to take over this P2 spot. But Kane with the momentum off the top is going to try to clear out of turn 2. As he will, the 85 is going to give him the benefit of the doubt, going to try to get back in the line here to keep this P3 position away. Landon Huff back up here, up 10 spots, and that 320 machine going to try to put some pressure on this 85 truck. And you have Dylan Bird back there in the 50, consistently been up here in the top 5 throughout the whole race. Standing back there, rounding out your top 5, and right there, ready to pounce if there's any mistakes. As you see a lap truck right there that they're gonna have to negotiate around. It's the 32 machine of Tim Johns. He's gonna get out of the way here. But Scott Leonard under attack from really this top 6 here. As everybody has not been able to get away from each other yet. So Scott has a handful here when it comes to some of these guys. And you look back here at Scott, he has not raced around this 19 machine yet. He doesn't know how aggressive that Kane's going to be here at Darlington, at least. And for me, as oh, you're going to see Kane get in the wall. He's actually going to get taken side by side with the 85. Kane Cowell going to take that P2 position away. And just a little mistake out of the 19. Going to allow that 85 to take over that P2 position. Now that 19 is going to have to hunker back down, you know, tighten those belts and get back to work. As a caution outs once again, as we looks like we might have a multi-car crash here in the back. Looks like Chris Randall also involved potentially. We'll take a look and see what happened. Oh wow, up here, this is the 20 machine, it looks like. See if we can find this 20 machine. Yeah, Chris Randall back up here. Looks like this is where it all started. SDK told me that it was the other machine. So we'll see what happened in this 20 car, to this 20 Ford F-150 here. So it looks like gonna be side by side once again in the turn 1 and 2. Oh man, that's a really bad camera angle. We'll see if we can see it from TV too. Ooh, I just really think he tried to check up. Didn't want to be side by side into there, and I got ran over by the 81. And here comes the 72. Really nowhere to go, and he's gonna get that right rear of the 20 and the 72 with a lot of damage as well. See Clyde Kuffner right there. Really not as bad as I expected it to be for that 72 machine, but still really nowhere to go. You see quite a bit of damage there. It looks like the left front is completely knocked out on that machine. So tough break for Clyde there, but you know, that's just what happens. You know, it's really hard for sometimes to get these trucks locked back down. When you see a wreck, you know, you can't really just jab on the brakes, you know, especially if you have the brake bias. Especially at a track here like Darlington, where you have to brake here, especially in the 3 and 4. And 1 and 2, you can probably lift and coast. You can, some drivers might, you know, dab the brake a little bit to get the truck load down. But here in 3 and 4, where you have to brake, you can really address the brake bias to be really aggressive down there in the 3 and 4 to, you know, try to brake as late as you can and use a lot of it. So you can't really expect sometimes these drivers to just get on the brakes and just really roll it up. Because if you do that, you can really upset the truck by doing that, especially, you know, out of a corner. Unfortunately, saw that 72 just not being able to check up in time for the 20 machine, and unfortunately really upset the front end of that truck. But once again, lights are off on the pace car, which means we'll be going green this time by. Once again here from Darlington, week 6 for the the FTR Complete Graphics Truck Series. Huge shout out to Complete Graphics for coming on board and sponsoring the series. Really good paint work and graphics design work. So if you guys have any need for any graphics designs work, look no further than Complete Graphics there with John Fowler and that whole group of guys. Really good group of guys over there with Complete Graphics. So if you guys are looking for any paint schemes, graphic work, once again, look no further than Complete Graphics. And once again, shout out to them for sponsoring this truck series for this season. Dude, lights back on the pace truck. So maybe some miscommunication. Maybe where drivers supposed to line up, I suppose. I don't see any really crashes here. That would, you know, have iRacing delay the caution. But we'll see what we can do here. But once again, we'll see Chevy front six. It looks like Leroy Koblenz back there in P8 will be your first Ford. And then the second non-Chevy will be Michael Ziegler back there in P11, P12. Looks like P12 for Michael Ziegler. And then the first Toyota is going to be Randy Courier. Courier? Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. Randy back here in this 52 machine. Going to be your first Toyota back there in P14. So, once again, a Chevy kind of dominance here at Darlington. You know, I feel like Chevy's one of the more popular manufacturers on the sim, so it's really something to show here. But once again, you did see that pace car take a hard left turn. It's going to be Scott Leonard, Brandon Cowell, Kane Logston, and Dylan Bird. Going to bring you back to green here at Darlington to start lap 64. Good jump by Scott back there, but a little bit of a battle for this P2 position is the 85. Going to try to defend this P2 position is the 19 of Kane. We saw him being quick there, made a mistake, gave up the P2 position to that 85 machine. Out of 19 under, trying to be aggressive to take back that spot. I think Kane maybe might have a truck to go down and run down that 8 machine if he can be mistake free. He showed the pace earlier. So you have Kane back there in P3. Dylan back there in P4. P5 back there, Jacob Nagel. Landon Huff back there in P6. Right in the tire tracks of this 48 machine is, I think we see a truck back there in the wall. That's Brandon Nagel. Bryant Nagel. That 458 machine up into the wall is going to allow Leroy Koblenz to try to hunt this machine down. So, we have a wreck back here. Is the 48. Gonna go around here. Caution's out. Looks like the 88 also involved. That's Juan, the Mexican native here in the truck series. But we'll take a look at Jacob. See what happened to this 48 machine. Looks like the 50, oh man, just got up in the wall, tried to yank it off the wall, and literally tagged the 48 in the left rear. I think lucky for him, no one makes contact. And he'll get this car back around. We'll look at this 88 machine of Juan. We'll see what happened to him. What got him in here. Maybe Juan trying to... Yeah, it looks like... And this is what I was talking about earlier. Juan just trying to slow up for the wreck and... just lost the truck. Lost control of the truck under braking. You see it, the car just snap up from underneath him, and Juan goes for a ride there. Juan, look at this. Mexico City native. See a lot of damage out of the 88 machine. We'll go back. We see some green flag pit stops underway. Scott Leonard in his box. Once again, more strategy out of these drivers. So Scott will come out, I believe, P4 out of Perot. Zach Tucker in the 1 machine. We saw him do this earlier. Dave Peterson up here in the 35, up 14 positions. Dylan Bird been up here in the top 5 throughout the whole race. And then Scott will lose 3 spots here back in the P4 position. And Leroy will go up here into the top 5 for the second time of the race. Kane Logston back there in P6, P7. Brandon Cowell in that 85 machine is looking pretty quick. Charlie Stutzman in the 180. Landon Huff back there in the 320. That Kentucky machine. Kentucky Wildcats machine. We saw him already go for a wild ride this race here. Michael Ziegler in the 01. See Bryant Nagel back out. Jeff Orderman. Your first Toyota. Randy Courier. And the 52 machine. P14, Rick Modrich. And this number 71 truck. We've seen him have some action here, and not in a good way. And then obviously the 48 here, who got caught up in that wreck back here. Gonna round out your top 15. But man, what a race here. We have some really racy cars here throughout the race. We've had quite a few incidents. But that's just the way the cookie crumbles here at Darlington, in my opinion. You're gonna have these kind of racing deals. And every wreck I've seen has kind of been a racing deal. There's never been like someone kind of being too aggressive. It's just hard racing here. You've seen a lot of hard racing here from the Complete Graphics Truck Series drivers. And, you know, I think when you come to here and you have hard racing, you're just going to have to expect some wrecks. Here at Darlington, it's, you know, it's why you call it the Lady in Black, the track too tough to tame, right? I mean, she's a beast. But once again, coming back here, when we be coming back to the line, 21 to go here. And Zach Tucker and that one machine will lead us back to green. A good jump by him. Dylan Bird also with a great jump. He'll jump up to the P2 position, and the 19 machine with a huge mistake here in 1 and 2. Gonna have to try to safely merge up the track here. 3 wide is the 85. Is gonna get hooked. The 19 around as well. No caution yet. As here comes the caution. I want to go back and look back at that 85 machine. I thought he was over it here. But we'll go back and take a look at this 85 machine. Looks like he got hooked there trying to get around this wreck. Looks like that was the 180 machine. It just looked like, yeah, that once again, just two trucks coming together there. And luckily the 85 can get it straight here, but it was this 19 machine of Kane Hodgkin, which is going to be a little, I think it might be a little bit of a controversial call here. Looks like had the truck saved and kind of just slowed it down enough to, actually, I wouldn't say that anymore. I mean, had it spun out and just trying to lock it down here to try to keep this truck safe, and I think right there is what caused the caution. So I will retract my statement right there. Looks like just Kane just trying to do the best he could to keep himself out of trouble. Yeah, it looks like from that 19 machine, when he just came up to try to remerge on the track, it looks like he just got sideways on his own. See the truck get his lap back, get the lucky dog. Didn't get to see who that was. Like it was the 71? No, that's the 71 getting back up to the field. Might have been this 32 truck. Tim Johns. Saw a white-ish looking truck past the pace car. Might have been this 32 machine. Just like that. See the lights on the pace car off on the pace car once again. And the laps are starting to tick down here at Darlington. Not a lot of time for some of these drivers to drive through the field if they want a chance to do it. Like the 19 of Kane. Like the 85 who got caught up kind of as a bystander there. But you're starting to see some of these fast drivers come up through the field here. You see the 8 of Leonard back there. And P3, I think he's in a really good spot to go up there, try to race for it. Fortunately for the 80, think the 80 truck might have called it a night early. Regardless, we're going to be going back to green here with 17 to go. Is once again the one of Zach Tucker. Leads us back to green here. A good jump by him. A good jump from Scott Leonard in the P8 position. And the P8 and the 8 truck. My apologies. Zach Tucker will lead out of 2. Scott Leonard with the tailgate full from Dylan Bird. You need top 4 under a blanket. Start to see now Bird under pressure from the 48. The 48's gonna hook the 50. 50 gets the back end off the ground. As that looks very interesting. So we'll take it back and take a look and see what happened here. I mean, you just see the 48 take a right on this 50 machine. Very interesting to see here. I'll stop it right there and we'll go on board with your 48. See if we can find him, Jacob Nagel. On board with him. See what happened here. Just I don't know, man. I'm very new to this league. Obviously, it's my first race, so I don't really know about any drama or anything in the past. But I mean, it looks like to me he yanked the left on the 50. I mean, this 48 is a lap down, I believe, and that's not a really good look for this driver. So you'll see the 50 down pit road there. Fortunate for him, was having a good race. And with these caution laps ticking down, you know, we see the one machine of Zach Tucker did a little bit of a strategy to get up here inside the top 5 to take your race lead. And this is exactly what he wants. I think everybody knows right now, ever since the 80 got involved in that caution, it's kind of given this race over to the 90, my apologies, not the 80, the 90 of Josh Lambert, who has called it a nice well back there in P19. Ever since Josh called it a night, it really did give the favoritism to this 8 machine for the race win. And this one machine stayed out here on some different strategy, and it has given him an opportunity to go and maybe steal a win here at Darlington. And these caution laps are really helping out this one machine, because it's just less laps that you have to defend this 8 truck. The longer you can just pace around, and the longer you can, you know, have these laps tick off, the better you're going to be here. Because it's the less laps you have to hold off. Scott Leonard back there in that 8 machine, who's looked very quick all race long. You see the one machine, Zach Tucker out of Magnolia. Gonna try to seal the deal here at Darlington. We'll see the pace car once again hook a hard left on the pit lane in the 1 and the 8. 1 on the inside, 8 on the outside. Gonna come around turn 3 and 4. Gonna get ready to go back into the restart zone to go back to green here at Darlington with 12 laps to go here for the complete graphics truck series. Third jump of the 1, but he's got a tailgate full of the 8 machine here. Scott trying to be aggressive to try to get around this truck as soon as he can, but we know that 1 machine is not going to give it up easy. Great battle for the lead here as everybody starts to get in their own ways. Scott Leonard gonna look on the bottom here, going down at 3 and 4, side by side at the line. Give it to Tucker. 10 to go here, but here comes Scott Leonard on the bottom. Gonna try to give as much room to this 1 as he can. The 1's gonna have a little bit of a run off the top, side by side at a 2. Give it to the 1. Scott's gonna be forced to lift. And here comes Brian Nagels in the 458. With them running side by side, it really slowed up their pace and allowed Bryant to get up here to race for this race win. Now Scott wants to make this move work. He's going to have to go back. Is now cautioned out once again here from Darlington. Like maybe Jeff Orderman had an issue. We'll see if we can find Jeff here in the standings. See if we can take a little bit of a replay here. Looks like he lost some spots here. Yeah, that's what I figured. So we didn't get a SDK timing is corner and give me an incident here. It looks like, ooh, the 50, that might have been a little bit of a net code. We'll go and take a look here at our chopper cam. See if we can find it here. We'll see here, the 50. I think it wasn't that code, but I think the 50 would have got him anyways. See that 81 going around, and that will be your caution here at Darlington. So we do have some drivers that decide to come down pit road. Brian Coyer, Brandon Cowell. You see this 85 and this 52 down pit side. And with 7 to go, I don't, with how bad the tire fall off is, I don't really hate that move. If you're, back there around the top 10, like, I would say if you're anywhere like 8th on back, with how many trucks are left here, I don't mind. I don't really hate the idea of someone coming and picking tires and seeing if they can drive through the field here with this, I would say, 5-lap shootout once we go green here. The driver of the 50, I believe the numbers do not match up, but yes. Obviously, in the league, so I'm not going to be able to memorize these schemes as quickly. The 50 back there, I think he's starting back there in P10. That is Bird. Yes, Dylan Bird back there in the 638 machine is the 50 on the screen for people wanting to know. But here we go, chat. Lights are off on the pace car once again, and it's going to be coming down to the wire here. As you'll see the pace car take another hard left turn on the pit road, and we'll be having a 5-lap dash here at Darlington for the complete graphics truck series. And once again, it's going to be the 1 and the 8. 1 on the bottom, 8 on the top, as we get ready to get back into the restart zone, as we are green once again here at Darlington. Another good jump by the 1 machine, and a good jump by Nagel in the 458. Not enough to get side by side though. As here comes Scott Leonard trying to make a move there in the 1 and 2, not gonna make it work. Gets a little sideways out of 2 there. It's gonna give a little bit of a gap, a little bit of a breathing room for Zach Tucker. Now Scott Leonard from the back here has a lot of pressure from now 3rd and 4th, as Kane Lodston has put his way back into the fight for this win. Ooh, you see the 458 in the wall. The 458's gonna put the 19 into the wall. Gonna slow up his momentum a lot here. Now it's gonna probably put an end to his races. Leroy Koblen's gonna try to look to his outside. Leroy puts himself all the way in the wall to try to pass him courteously. We're going to go back up here for the battle for the lead. Is Zach Tucker trying to hold off this 8 machine. 3 to go here from Darlington, coming into 3 and 4. Coming back across the stripe. We're going to be going 2 laps to go here from Darlington. Side by side at the line. Give it to the 1. But now side by side going to 1 and 2. Is the 8 of Scott Leonard's going to try to take advantage here. Scott puts the 1 in the wall. The 1 is gonna make contact with the 485, and here comes another wreck. So here's the big one here from Darlington. And we had like 3 or 4 wrecks that happened right there. And we'll have to take a look back and see what happened. So we'll first take a look and see what happened to the 1 machine here. And we saw maybe some more questionable stuff here happen. So obviously we saw the 458 just completely come up here. So we saw, what I meant is we saw the 8. I don't know if he meant to do this, but completely came up here and fenced the 1. Fed that right rear to the 1. The 1 was off the pace here, coming back up. And, man, I really don't know if that is the 458's fault. I mean, if you go on board with him here, if we could try to find this truck of Brian Nagel, I mean, he's going so slow, coming up the track so quickly. I don't really know if you can react to this at all. You see him yank it off the wall, go back up to the apron. I mean, yeah, you heard him lift, but there's really nothing you can do there. And then this is where you start to get into some questionable stuff here. As you see then the 1 yank it up, hook the 458, and then you see back here the 50, or the Dylan Bird. I don't know if there was another wreck back here. So Dylan Bird gets fenced by the 320. I would say Dylan kind of hits the wall, actually. It kind of makes contact. The 320 comes up, as well as Bird kind of hitting the wall here. And you see Bird not lift at all. And literally just pile drives this 320 into the wreck. And then you see guys like the 81 and so forth, nowhere to go. I kind of want to ride on board with someone who was behind this wreck here. See if this 32 has a great vantage point here. We're going to go on board with this 32 machine. But he gets fenced as well. And you see just so much calamity here. Just gets on the brake. I mean, you see so many people just getting caught up in there. You see the 6 machine. There's so much calamity there. It's kind of unbelievable. But just like that, we watched all that happen. The lights are already off on the pace car, and that should bring us into NASCAR overtime. And with all that said and done, once again, Scott Leonard will be your race leader, but Leroy Koblenz has made his way back up inside the top 2. Got through that wreck clean and green. And he's going to put himself in a position to potentially race for this win. You see Kane Lodson back there in P3. Landon Huff has made his way back up here. Remember, got caught up in a wreck earlier in that Kentucky Wildcats machine. But just like that, we're going to be going into NASCAR overtime here from Darlington. So it's going to be the 8 on the bottom of that Chevy and the 61 Ford F-150 on top. Leonard Koblenz will lead us back to green here for NASCAR overtime. Great jump out of the 8 machine. Kane going to be side by side with Leroy going in the 1 and 2. Kane's going to clear that 61 machine. And now can he go down and run down your race leader here? Kane in the 3 and 4 starting to track down the 8 machine. We're coming around the corner to take your white flag. 1 to go. White flag, 1 to go here from Darlington for Scott Leonard. Leroy Koblenz gets around the 19 for that P2 position. And with them battling out for the P2 spot, that's going to really hand any advantage over to this P8 truck. Scott Leonard going in the 3 and 4. Leroy with a run though from the top. Can Leroy cross over this 8 machine? Side by side at the line. Give it to the 8 machine. Scott Leonard will come out here and dominate here and win at Darlington for week 6 of the Complete Graphics Truck Series. Leroy Koblenz comes up there just 7/100ths behind. Good run by Leroy. And Kane Lodson will come back there in P3. Charlie Stutzman, we didn't really talk about him all night. He's going to come home P5. And Rick Modrich. We quite literally didn't really talk about him all night. Got caught up in a couple of wrecks, but besides that, good run for him. He's going to come home P5. You'll see the same machine start to burn it down here across the front stretch for these virtual fans in the stands and here at home in chat. Watching a phenomenal race between this 8 machine. And what a dominating performance from Scott here. Now it's funny, I raced with Scott when I first started iRacing in another truck league, and you know, he was very consistent in there as well. But congratulations to Scott. So we'll go through your race rundown here and your race results here from Darlington. So you see Scott Leonard there, victorious from Darlington in that 8 machine. Leroy Koblenz will come home P2. Kane Lodson, P3 in that 19 machine. Charlie Lutzman, P4. P5 of Rick Modrich. Michael Ziegler could be P6. Tim Johns, P7 in that 32 machine. Randy Coyer, P8. Brandon Cow, P9. And rounding out your top 10 is going to be Brian Nagel. Landon Huff in that 320 machine. Going to come home P11. P12, Brandon. Dylan Bird. Zach Tucker, P13. Jeff Wooderman, P14. Dave Peterson, P15. P16, Juan Villas. P17, Matt Morrison. CP18 of Jacob Nagel. Joseph Phelps back there, P19. And running out your top 20 is going to be Josh Lambert. Clyde Kuffner, P21. Chris Randall going to be P22 in that 20 machine. Casey Cotterman in 82 going to round out that top 23. Ryan Walker in P24. John Walker in P25. Andrew Pollitt back there in P26. Barry Acker, P27. P28 of Owen Noonan. Randy Hogg, P29. And rounding out your field back there in P30 is Robert Chappell. Just like that, we're going to go ahead and do a quick commercial break, and we'll get ready to talk to your top 3 finishers after our word from your league sponsor here from Complete Graphics. You back from Darlington Raceway, as you just saw Scott Leonard come home victorious from Darlington Raceway here. But we'll get ready to talk to your top 3 finishers here, up here in the AMS broadcast booth here. We'll go ahead and talk to Kane Lodson, a P3 finisher. Hey Kane, it's Christian up here in the booth. You got a copy? Well, definitely an interesting race for you. Obviously, you showed a lot of pace and a lot of speed here throughout the race here. But obviously coming home here in P3. Just walk us through your 9. Walk us through, the race in your eyes. Yeah, it was definitely a lot of fun watching you guys up in the booth. And once again, congratulations on this P3 finish. Hopefully, we can talk to you back up here in the booth sooner rather than later. Maybe a couple spots sooner, better. Yeah, have a good rest of the night. Do have a little bit of technical difficulties where I'm having an issue grabbing the audio from your driver there. So obviously you didn't get to hear from Kane there, but was very excited about this P3 finish and set out a lot of fun. So I'm sorry, Kane, we could not get your interview in, but we're trying to figure out this live right here live on the as we try to figure this out. We do thoroughly apologize for everything. because it shows up in OBS is everything showing up. Well, let's go ahead and talk to your P2 finisher, Leroy Koblenz. Hey Leroy, it's Christian up in the booth. Got a copy? Well, great finish for you up here in the P2 position. You know, kind of ran up in the top 3. I mean, in the top 10, all race long. You know, did some different tire strategies and everything else, but it looks like just was able to get through that wreck, and put yourself in a good spot to get a good finish for yourself. But just walk us through a race and walk us through those last couple of chaotic restarts there. A great finish for you, Leroy. Especially, you know, knowing you a little bit closer than a lot of the drivers here. Yeah, you haven't had the best luck, you know, when it comes to winning these leagues and stuff. So once again, congratulations on this P2 finish, and hopefully we can talk to you maybe a couple spots sooner up here in Victory Lane. Yeah, we definitely saw that out here on the track, but I'm gonna go ahead and let you go. Get prepared for next week here for the Complete Motorsport Truck Series. But once again, congratulations on this P2 finish, and hopefully we'll talk to you soon. Yeah, have a good rest of the night. That was Leroy. Obviously couldn't hear him, so we'll just do a rundown what he was talking about. Obviously, you know, he said he really loves Darlington here, and you know, was able to get through those. Obviously, like I mentioned here in the interview, that you know, he felt like he had a pretty quick truck underneath him, and really loves Darlington, and you know, was really lucky to get through those wrecks, and was able to navigate through everything else, and was happy to get a P2 finish. You know, he talked about how, yeah, you know, sometimes he can't navigate and get the best luck here in these league races, but was happy to come home with a P2 finish. And obviously, we wished him good luck for the rest of the season. But once again, apologies for some odd reason, Discord is not picking up here in OBS. But we kind of had to wing it there at the end. But once again, I don't see Scott Leonard in the chat at all, so I don't think we'll unfortunately get an interview from your race winner here today. Unfortunately, he had a dominating race. But once again, we'll go through your finishing results one last time here from Darlington. Scott Leonard, Pete, will come home victorious. Only 6 100ths separate him from Leroy Koblenz. We just talked to him. And Kane Brown there, and Kane Lodson back there in P3. Charlie Stutzman back there in P4. Good finish for him. Rick Modrich back there in P5, P6. Michael Ziegler. Tim Johns back there in P7. Randy Coyer back there in P8. Brandon Cowell back there in P9. Brandon Nagel in P10. Landon Huff P11. P12 back there is Dylan Bird after getting caught up in a wreck late. Zach Tucker back there in the 1. It's going to be P13. P14 is going to be Jeff Waterman. P15, Dave Peterson. Juan Velez back there in P16, and P17, Matt Morris. Look at the rest of your top 30 here. Jacob Nagel back there in P18, Joseph Phelps P19, Josh Lambert P20, Clyde Kuffner P21, P22 is going to go to Chris Randall in the 20 machine. The 82 of Casey Connerman going to be P23. Ryan Walker P24, John Walker P25, Andrew Pollitt P26, P27 is going to go to Barry Acker. Owen Newman going to be P28, and P29 is going to be Rudy Hogg. And running out your field, there's going to be Robert Campbell back in P30. But besides that, from everybody, I think it's about a good time to call it a night here from Darlington Raceway, here for the complete graphics truck series here for the FTR Racing League, the free time racing. Once again, my name is Christian Delgado, your lead producer and commentator for tonight's race. And once again, a huge shout out to American Speed Network for allowing me to come up here and show my chops up here in the ASN booth. I really appreciate everybody who's working over there with ASN, John Ross and everybody involved in there. Also, a huge shout out to everybody over here with the Free Time Racing League. I thank you for allowing me to be up here and calling one of your races. I really had a great time. But besides that, I think it's time to call in a night here from Darlington Raceway. And I hope everybody has a great rest of the night. And we'll be back here live. Probably we'll have John Ross back at the booth here next Monday for week 7 of the FTR Complete Graphics Truck Series. Hope everybody has a great rest of the night, and we will see you guys soon.